Hey, Classic Joey Mac here. Today I wanted to talk about a subject that I'm not going to say I'm an expert on by any means, because I'm certainly not. I wanted to talk a little bit about horror movies. Now, why am I talking about horror movies? Well, I guess for one, fall is sort of here, you know. I love Halloween. I love all facets of Halloween, though. I like the horror side, the ultra scary. I like the creepy side. I like the cheesy kind of comedy side too. I like the confusions, mystery side. I like the slasher cheesy side. I like all the different things. But horror movies have been around forever. We like movies that play upon our emotions, and fear is certainly a strong one. And the reason that this one came up with me was last night I was watching the Eagles game. And please, keep all your, football hatred away, But anyway, I'm watching the Eagles game. And this commercial comes on for some horror movie. I think it's a prequel, but it's some sort of creepy doll, possessed doll. And I just sort of groan when I see it. Now, as I've said just a minute ago, I like the cheesy slasher films. I like all the different kind of genres of Halloween or horror movies. I like all the different ones. I even like the, cheesy, spoofy type of horror movies. But when you have all these possessed dolls and stuff, I just sort of laugh. I was one time, years ago, I was watching I Love the 80s. And Dee Snider was on. And they were doing Chucky. They were talking about Chucky. And he just put it perfectly. He's like, it's a doll. Step on it. And that's always just stuck with me. So I just burst out laughing when I saw this, trailer last night. Because I sit here and I think to myself, it's 2014. You see all these techno movies and all these different things. Movies are movies. They've been around forever, and a lot of the premise is still the same. But I have to laugh when we're in 2014 and you see these dolls continuously being made into movies, and I'm like, you can make them as creepy as you want. I mean, at this stage, anything looks scary compared to Chucky. Which, kind of looks laughable by today's standards. But the truth is that these movies really are no better. They're probably worse than a movie like Chucky at this point. Why are we still having, killer dolls? I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of rambling. This trailer I saw was just sort of laughable. And it really just opened up my mind, and I just want to be like, horror movies are one of those genres, or horror in general is just a genre that I think it's just very difficult to make anymore. You don't really see a lot of groundbreaking horror movies anymore, it seems. And again, I don't want to come across as an expert. Certainly, everyone, and I always recognize this, has their own individual tastes, which therefore they come up with their own independent opinions on anything that has to do with entertainment in general. Music, movies, etc. So do not, take this video in any account that I am some sort of expert with some sort of degree in movies, and I know what I'm talking about. I am simply a person that's just got an opinion. But I really do feel that way. I feel like horror movies seem like they're just... Maybe it's cyclical. Maybe like every 10 to 20 years, a movie or two comes out, and it's really cool. Like, let's see Paranormal Activity. Everyone liked that. And then they made 2 and 3 and over. And now there's spoofs. And now there's all these other movies that are just like it. And I think that's what ends up happening. Is like, one movie comes out and we're like, oh, whoa. And I imagine that's what it was like, maybe in the 80s or late 70s with, there's so many. But like a Freddy Krueger or a Jason, I guess Friday the 13th, Halloween, etc. Then all of a sudden, it's coming out with 100 of them. And then, Chucky comes. And then we have, Chucky 1 through 29. And then Leprechaun. And all these other movies. are we just at a point where we're just, out of ideas? I mean, the trailers today just become like, back in the day, I think they just recognized, hey, after the first one, we're going to just kind of keep making them. It is what it is. And that's sort of what we're doing again with a lot of movies. But horror movies in general, it's like, I'll never forget a trailer from a couple years ago. I don't remember what it was. There was this guy, and he's just like, there's something possessed in that house, or something crazy like that. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, are you kidding me? Who says these things? Like, how many times can something be possessed and everyone dies? I don't know. It just, I guess we just, again, it's cyclical. I mean, I guess people are tired of some sort of possessed person or entity, so now we've got houses that possess this. I'm not really even sure what point I'm making at this point. I guess I wanted to reach out to people that are far more experienced in the genre than I am, and I wanted to say, what is your opinion on something like, today's horror movies, the state of horror movies today? And when you see a movie trailer that involves, killer dolls and stuff like that, what do you think of today? I mean, is that, I don't want to say acceptable, but is that where we're at? I mean, does anyone want something more original? What are the ideas that people would like to see? I think that is where I would like to reach out. My expertise with horror movies is, I don't want to say minimal, but it's probably slightly above average. I would say that. I've taken a horror movie class in college before, even though it was an accident, but I learned a lot in that class, and I was exposed to a lot of different movies I'd never been exposed to, and I've like eaten a lot of movies up. Not so much the newer ones though, because they just come across as just carbon copies of one another. So I guess what I'm looking for is what is your feelings today on horror movies, especially ones that involve these dolls and stuff, because I look at them and I'm like, God, we ought to be done with that. That should have died in the 90s. 2, what are some of the ideas that you would like to see? Where are horror movies lacking now? Why do they all feel like they're the same? And what can be done to change that? I want to hear from my horror movie experts, because I think we all, like, even people that don't like horror movies are certainly aware of a lot of the classics from back in the day, which I tend to gravitate more. My nickname is Classic. I do a lot of, gravitating towards the past, but I tend to think that a lot of horror people that love horror movies are very into them. I want to know what is so different about back then as opposed to today, because a lot of people I know that do like horror movies don't seem that thrilled. Like, they don't really give a shit about, some of these movies. It's like, they got another, another family moves into a haunted house, So I don't know, where are things lacking? I mean, because I tend to think, like, some of the basic stereotypes of horror movies have kind of thrown out the window. You sort of, I don't even know if I see very attractive women in these movies anymore, which used to be a staple. Or you'd have a really good-looking guy that pretty much gets killed in, the first 20 minutes of the movie, and then, the really hot chick is kind of left on her own. Again, I'm not advocating for stereotypes, because when you do a stereotype too much, which has been done, it gets old. But I don't really, I don't know, like, something just doesn't feel right when I'm watching, like, trailers for, like, The Purge and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's me again, and that's why I wanted to reach out. Consider this, a slightly above average fan reaching out to those that are very engulfed in the horror genre. Educate me, and not me, but educate, everyone out there that I think is interested. People that might want to get back into it a little bit more. And, throw us your recommendations. Throw us, some ideas on what needs to change in 2014 to make this genre not more relevant, but just better in general. What needs to happen. So, I think this was a good video to kind of throw out there. It's mid to late September now. we're all getting ramped up for Halloween. So, I'll do more Halloween-based movies as October comes. But it's a good step in that direction, especially before a lot of the classic horror movies come on the TV. So give us some recommendations. Hit me up on Twitter. That's a good one because that way we can all be connected. And then, of course, Tumblr is a great place to find all my other stuff. And then still also email me or comment. So let me know. All right, guys, keep it classic.